welcome, welcome. We don't have any guests, but for those of you, I believe like most people I see in here, we've had in the past, so welcome back. Is anyone new that's in joining with us today? Sladana's new, right? So Sladana's brand new with us, so welcome. Perfect. So Sladana, these webinars kind of go really whichever way we want. Originally, we would jump into someone's CRM. Beverly would talk about their leads and sometimes call some of the leads just to see how opening up the conversations, and how that works, because that seems to be a struggle for many individuals is knowing and learning exactly what to say. How many in here are confident with their scripting or their internal scripting when it comes to an inbound lead and your initial contact with them and how to open up the conversation, keep the lead engaged to be able to retrieve the information that you need on that initial conversation or call? Does everyone feel confident in that? 6 out of 10,
Out of
Savannah
10.
says. It's
So
good.
what has to happen to make it a 10?
Franco says not really.
We all like to get in our heads.
Mm-hmm. Franco, where you say not really, do you find that it's the lead, like you're just hitting objections and just not knowing how to kind of move past those objections to keep the conversation going, or just to get this person to just talk to you? Objections.
Objections. And then time to practice. I don't know.
Yes. Keep the
When I
conversation
came
going.
to, yeah, yep.
Mhm.
And that's why I love asking questions, because if you ask questions, that's what keeps the conversation going.
Mhm.
But you just have to be equipped with those questions.
And knowing. And Franco, have you tried writing down those objections and creating various responses on how you could handle those objections differently? And AI is a great tool for that as well. It's like, I got this. And like, what do I say to keep this conversation and going engaged?
Oh, Jeanette, that's so great. Been out of the market for about 9 months now, getting back to it, have huge imposter syndrome happening. I know once I get one deal done, I'll be back on that Bronco bucking real estate horse. LOL. Yeah, that imposter syndrome, it's real. It truly is. But they don't know that you were out of the market for 9 months, Jeanette.
Right. No one knows this. Only you do.
No one knows. And truly, you are where you are here right now, and they are where they are right now. When people start looking, that seasonality is usually such a long period of time.
Mhm.
They didn't skip a beat. You didn't skip a beat. They didn't go, oh wow, Jeanette hasn't been selling for 9 months, huh? I don't want to
Yeah.
hear her.
And you know what the reality is if you kept your CRM going and those leads receiving listings and you were to follow up with them, you're
It
probably
would-
doing better than half the people out there.
That is,
So it's a lot of us like to accumulate leads and the follow up is just not there.
oh,
So
look at Franco.
it's
He has two agents working the CRM. The initial contact is okay, but the follow-up is bad. You know why that is? Because we all get that high on that first initial contact. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I nailed this one. It was great. And then you go to follow up with them, like, okay, why am I going to call them? What am I going to say?
Mhm.
It's so much more fun, that first initial chase.
Mhm.
And then that follow-up, it's not as big of a rush. And learning how to fall in love with that process, to see it through to the end, it's it's an art. I'm just going to say it's an art to really learn how to fall in love with that process, which is why I really started putting everything back on them. So in those first initial conversations, we need to be asking them how they want us to follow up, when they want us to follow up, what is their best form of communication. And then it kind of makes it a little bit more exciting because you now know that they're expecting you to follow up.
Mhm.
And that's kind of testing that future of building that relationship. Because if you follow through with what you say you're going to do, they may forget that they told you to call back in a few weeks. But as soon as they hear your voice, or as soon as they see your name come up on the phone or whatever, hear your voicemail, I'm like, oh, yeah, I did tell them to follow up in 3 weeks. So even though they don't answer the phone, it doesn't mean that you lost a lead. But our brains are so quick to go back to, yeah, see, I'm just going to go work with the new.
Mhm.
But whenever we put it back on them after that first initial phone call and just asking them, what are you looking for in regards to maintaining contact? And when do you want me to follow up with you? How soon? And what's your form of communication? It kind of makes that relationship a little bit easier and we're not guessing because
I
that's what.
find Yeah, and detailed notes for yourself, right? So if you're leaving detailed notes on that conversation, you're not even going to second guess yourself as to why you're following up with them. You can see everything point blank that you've left, and you can even leave a note next follow up. This is what I can say, or this is what I'm going to ask, right? So then you're not second guessing because again, we second guess ourselves, or we're in the mindset of selling. So when we think that we're selling somebody, that's when we think that we're pestering them,
Mhm.
right? But change the mindset to we're building a relationship. This is my next client. I'm just slowly warming them up to come to realization that I'm their agent.
And honestly, a really good practice to remember whenever you sit down to do follow-ups, even with that imposter syndrome, what got you to exactly where you are right now is not what's going to take you to the next level. So it's truly looking at where you are right now in your business and where you want it to be and who is that future self person? Because that future self person is going to look a little bit differently than you are right now because you're going to have met goals, you're going to have arrived there, you're going to be there. So when you start looking at your mentors that you want to mirror and become, and you start looking at that future self, putting yourself in that mindset of what would that future self be doing right now with follow up? What would that future self be doing right now in conversations? And this is, and again, I go back to the imposter syndrome because this is really the only thing that you can trigger your brain to change that mindset to say, you know what, my future self, if we can truly become our future self right here, right now, in this moment, that's what's going to give us that momentum to actually get there.
Mm-hmm.
But if we stay exactly where we are and we stay stuck in that old story, we're going to stay there and stay stuck in that old story. And we're not going to be making those changes and doing anything differently because we're going to be just repeating what we did yesterday. So we really do have to project ourselves into that future self. And it's such a great practice to remember when you sit down to make those phone calls and to work that CRM. Because you may sit back and just be completely overwhelmed with the CRM and not even know what to do, who to call first, or what to even say. But that future self would know. And you know what that confidence difference looks like in that future self. Because a lot of times we sit here and like, well, I wanted to have X amount of closings done by now. I wanted to have X amount of clients. I wanted to have X amount of listings right now. I don't have it. Woe is me. Boo hoo, boo hoo. Instead of really thinking about, oh my God, if I had all of this on the table and I'm exactly where I always wanted to be, how does that person?
Mm-hmm.
And it comes down to acting, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong
Mm-hmm.
with acting as if.
It's like, how does that person dress? What does their daily routine look like?
Yeah.
It's all it's like I wish so it's being a kid. It's almost like being a kid and you're imagining when I grow up, I want to be, what would that look like? Right? You envisioned where you might be showing up to work, who you're working with, what you were wearing, like, you envisioned all that. So it's kind of all like the same thing where, my future self is going to be getting, having, at least 5 listings on the market at any given time. I'm going to have buyers on the go. What does that life look like? And what does that that person doing to achieve that, and it's starting to take on that role. It's like morphing yourself into that person so it becomes your reality.
Yeah. All right,
So
this is the issue. They
Dana,
do not
yeah.
believe in the leads generated. What is that coming from something else?
That no, so the issue for the follow-up for Franco, I think, is that they don't believe in the lead. So they're just it's again, that's a mindset thing, right? So it's, they're probably calling, it could even be the questions they're asking, they're just looking, they're not motivated. You and I both know that mindset and how we're coming across in conversations plays a
Yeah.
huge factor. So if they're in disbelief, guess what? They're already sending signals in that conversation to the lead that it's not going to happen, right? It's they're not. I guarantee they're not very cheerful. They're not friendly. They're not somebody that's attracting. Where they're not attracting that lead in any kind of positive energy whatsoever. If they're already kind of like, man, this is just a waste of my time.
Well, and I think the bigger question here becomes if they don't believe in the leads, do they believe in themselves? Because that's the true energy. Whenever looking at a database, I'm like, I just got to save all these people from a really bad experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many agents out there, and there's so many agents out there that shouldn't be out there.
Yeah.
And what kind of experience are these people going to have? My job is to protect their investment, their future investment, making them the most money on their sale and saving them the most money on their purchase. And that's my job. And to be completely honest with my client, instead of just showing them homes and hoping they're going to fall in love with something and just having that pie in the sky and showing them the wrong homes because they're on the beer budget with the champagne taste, but we're just going to take them to see a bunch of homes and hope they find something. Or we list the property at the price that they say they want it listed at, and we know it's way overpriced. Are we believing enough in ourselves to be 100% honest with the client? So if the belief is not in the leads, how much belief do they have within themselves? Um, to answer that next question, every day, every day, every day, different times of the day,
Mm-hmm.
like call, 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 that number showing up, showing up, showing up, right? And it's
It's
the consistency. Everyone preached for so many years, speed to lead, speed to lead. Well, every agent was great at speed to lead, but then they didn't do anything after that.
mm-hmm.
So it was that first call, speed to lead. Hey, I'm calling my leads within like that first 30 seconds. And then they never got a phone call again because they're too busy focusing on what's coming in and they're not making those follow-ups. And that's like you were saying earlier. It's if you haven't worked your database in 6 months and you go back and start working it, you're doing more than the person that's never works it again.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Absolutely.
95% of all the agents make that first initial attempt, maybe the second one, but never beyond the third attempt.
Yeah.
And literally, if in those first 2 weeks you make at least 7 to 10 phone call attempts, you're going to be having more conversations,
And,
100%.
and it
So
takes those follow-ups. So just to put this into perspective for everyone, the average lead after that initial conversation is about 5 to 13 additional touch points, calls, check-ins to get them to that next stage based on the average time of conversion. And like Beverly said, most will do one or two and then they fall off. They lose interest because it's too much work to
and
let
it's
the
the
phone
lead's fault.
ring.
My lead
It's
suck.
yeah, it's 23 seconds is too much time to spend on someone and they don't answer.
But if you want to blame
Yeah.
anything, blame the technology that has
Mhm.
advanced so much on how many spam calls we get on our phones and now how our phones block the spam calls.
Mhm.
So you cannot blame the lead that they're not answering their phones. It's the way communication has really become and blocking out spam numbers, which is why I'm a proponent of going back to the way it was before all the dialers came up.
Mhm.
You literally have to go back to manually dialing right now if you truly want to increase your conversation
Yeah.
ratios. And
It's
I'm not a big proponent on what's your conversion ratio. It's conversation ratio, not conversion. Because the more conversations you have, the more conversions you're going to have. But how do you have the conversations? And that's the main question right now in 2026, right? Nobody answers their phone.
Mm-hmm.
And rightfully so. If you weren't in real estate, trust me, you wouldn't be answering your phone either.
Right? Some of you don't. We got to
Some
leave
of
a
you
message.
don't.
We have
There's
to
a
leave a
lot of real
message.
estate
Yeah.
agents that don't answer the damn phone anymore. I do not like 2026 real estate. I do not
Yeah.
like it. It is not like it was back. Now I sound like an old mom, right? Back when I was started selling real estate, I never thought I would be in real estate long enough to say that.
Yeah. It's
You
true
would be
though.
able to have conversations with agents about their client. Now nobody answers their phone because they don't want to say anything. They don't want to talk to anybody.
Mm.
Way too much liability.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
anticipating some sort of scam or sales or whatever
Yeah.
it is. But again, that goes into the consistency is that they're seeing the same number over and over again. If you look back at the calls that you receive and you can see anyone that calls on your caller ID when the last time they called, they're all one-time call,
If you
right?
don't
Whereas
block it.
if you don't block it, but on my phone, I can like I'm getting calls from like New Mexico, Indiana, like it's just all over the place. But I don't answer those calls, but they only call once, right? Whereas if you're calling somebody and they might not recognize the number, but they'll see that you tried calling and they see that they tried calling, and then maybe you double dial them and maybe you try calling from a different number because they're not picking up that number. It does for some individuals take more effort,
FOMO.
of course.
FOMO.
Yeah,
Create
it's
FOMO. And
yeah,
that's why I love that three ring rule, right?
yeah.
Because if you hang up on them before they have a chance to hang up on you, they're like, who the heck was that? It's a psychological thing where it's like I want that opportunity to reject the call before they reject me and hang up before I can reject it.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
get more callbacks. It's very interesting. And honestly, if someone's phone rings more than three times, everyone, well, unless you leave your phone at the gym, but everyone has their phone most of the time. And I'm gonna blame
Yeah.
my daughter because I'm with my daughter. Every time I'm with my daughter, I forget my phone. Every time, every time. But if you're catching somebody on that more than the fourth ring, it's not a convenient time for them because they got their hands full of groceries or they're trying to get in their car, they're holding their babies, whatever it may be, or they're trying to end another phone call. Let them call you back. Make your phone ring.
I've got Sladana here as well as Anastasia wanting to talk. So I know
Yeah.
Sladana had her hand up first. So if you have your questions, Sladana.
Oh, hi. You catch me. I almost forgot that I was about to talk. I just want to say
Yes.
thank you to Beverly because she actually converted me into believe that I can do this. I had opportunity to watch her training videos before I even joined the AgentLocator, and honestly, she was the reason why I'm today here. So I've been doing the leads for the last 10 days. It's completely new to me. I am keep calling until get those people on the phone. I'm doing the rental leads and the
Okay.
buyer leads.
Great.
What would be I can say so far that rental leads are answering the phone more often than actually the buyer leads. That's at least that's my experience based on just a small number of the leads that I got so far.
Yep.
Um, so
And what's your conversations been like with the rental leads?
I'm following the starting. It's like, oh, hi, I use the name. I don't overwhelm them with details about me. Just your script, like Slajina here, you sign up on my website. I'm just following up to see what you're looking for. And then I go through the details that I see on the screen, actually. Usually it's default search kind of. What I found interesting that the leads who are not so sure what to do, rental leads, I'm kind of trying to convert them to the buyers at the
Sure.
end. Some of them actually are in position to buy, but they don't know yet.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just too, maybe I'm rushing with everything. I've been in the business for a year and a half.
Okay.
And but I worked as a real estate administrator and graphic designer prior to that. I love real estate, and I did some small amount of the business, and I really wanted to go level up now. So it's kind of small introduction. I would like to just know the difference between those rental leads and buyer leads. Should we be following the same kind of script and follow up after that? I'm not quite sure. Am I doing this right?
I think the follow-up on a lease lead is obviously different than a buyer because the time they register to the time that they typically would need to move if they are making a move is a
Yeah,
lot smaller.
yeah, yeah.
Right? So those follow-ups will be different, obviously, depending on their time frames. But definitely, with those, I would be encouraging again, and this is where you're offering value, and Beverly can jump in at any time. With a rental lead, is if you know based on credit scores, how much you're going to be spending on their lease and just all these various factors that scream
Yeah,
you have the ability to buy a house right now. Did you even know this? Right.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
offering that value builds trust with those leads that if maybe this time around isn't the right time, then at least you can work towards something with them in the future. And people will
Mm-hmm,
value that and they'll come back as a first time buyer, if not this year, but perhaps next year.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And having really good follow-up plans. And it really comes down to your questions. I look at every single lead as everyone has a story.
mm-hmm,
And our job is to find out where we would fit into their story because we want to be part of their real estate journey. Everyone's on a different time frame. And the questions that we ask our leads are all going to be geared around instead of asking, well, when can I fit into your life, right? We need to know like what's happening. What are your goals? So as far as a rental lead is concerned, why rent versus buy? Like what's taking you down this path? Right now, from my personal life, I've just got my debt paid down. I'm in no way, shape, or form in a position to make a purchase yet, right?
mm-hmm,
And everyone's stories are different. I'm just moving, and this is a big one, depending on what location you're in. People just moving to the area. Well, I want to rent to feel the area out before I commit to making a purchase,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
right? I don't
yeah.
want to buy in the wrong area, so to speak. And that is where, like Crystal was saying, as far as really adding that value, because you'll never outsave the market. The market's going to be different in a year. Is that what you really want to do? Like, if we really found you, what is most important for your lifestyle and
Mm-hmm,
found you that perfect location? All we're going to try to do with that rental lead is offer them opportunity and see if they like take the bait.
mm-hmm,
If I was able to find you a home that would be the same as or maybe less than on your monthly payment to purchase than a rental, would you be interested in possibly going down the path of a purchase? If it's a hard no, don't push it. Well, what do you mean? Or, yeah, maybe. And then just start peeling back the layers and seeing what that looks like. Because everyone's journey is going to be different, right? You might be able to talk somebody into it. They might not even be thinking about
yeah.
what it would look like to purchase. But your follow-ups with the rental leads are going to be very conditional when it comes to who is going to qualify for time on your calendar, right? If I just had a bankruptcy a year ago and I had a foreclosure 2 years ago, right? Like, you're not going to be top of my list to really get time on my calendar for me to follow up. But if you're in a month-to-month lease and you're considering if you want to re-sign for a year lease to keep your payment down, because we all know, like if you do a year lease or a 2-year lease, your payment's going to be cheaper than going a month to month, right? So if you can catch somebody in that window of opportunity and they're like, you know what, my lease is going to be up in 4 months, and that might be somebody you want to follow up with, and they might be worth time on your calendar.
Mm-hmm.
But it all
Mm-hmm.
comes down to how the conversation goes, if they're worth time on your calendar.
Mm-hmm. I would just say one thing, what I found challenging. Uh, Again, I'm just doing this for 10 days, but I'm doing this every day, trying to get them on the phone. That it's really hard to catch people on the phone for longer conversation. That's my kind of challenge. If they answer
So
the
you're getting
phone,
that, so you're getting them to answer is just keeping them on the phone to get more information?
the moment when you catch them, actually, uh, uh, um, uh, the moment they answer the phone, it's mostly not convenient to them. Some of them, they will tell you, then I would say like, oh, what's the best time to call you back? If they say tomorrow, what time tomorrow? Like, I'm trying to go into those details, but then I had one lead answering the phone tomorrow afternoon. Oh, I forgot she was in the store, blah, blah, blah. Getting them on the phone to actually squeeze all those information, that's kind of.
So that's where you have to be equipped, right? With that, like really quick, because it's not that it's a convenient time, they just don't want to talk to you, and that's our polite way of saying that they don't want to talk to you, right? So my go-to is always, well, I don't want to take time away from you, but just real quick, when do you plan on making a purchase? This year or within 5 years, right? That's all you need to know. Because then you can continue to follow up like you've never talked to them, because you've never really talked to them. You don't know. So, I mean, I've caught people, I'm at a funeral, I can't talk. Well, why the hell did you answer your phone, right? Like, it is beyond me what comes out of people's mouths, right? And I'm like, okay, well, just real quick, how soon do you plan on buying a home? Never. Okay, well, all right. So I just put a tag on them and keep going. So just be equipped. If it's that rental lead, right? Do you plan on possibly making no, I guess what I would lead with on the rental lead, how soon do you need to be in a rental? Are you in a month to month or are you in a term? When do you need to be in a home? Right? That's going to give you your time frame of how aggressive you want to try to follow up with them to catch them again.
Oh, okay.
So just be equipped with that real fast question. Just go real quick. Can I just ask you a question? Everybody says yes. Everybody says yes. So if you ask permission to ask a question, they're going to say, yeah.
Okay.
Even if they're at work and they can't talk. Because I hate those people. Like, I'm at work, I can't talk. Can you call me back tonight? Well, you ain't going to answer the phone when I call back tonight. So can you just tell me when you plan on making a purchase?
Okay.
Quick with it. Because that's what really matters, right? Like, you don't want to waste your time if they're just on their licky loo and they have no intention of buying. And then you've caught them so quick off guard, they can't lie because they've answered before they even thought about answering.
Okay, makes sense.
And those are actually fun because you can just get on and off the phone.
That's awesome. Awesome. We have Anastasia. I'm going to give you the ability to talk. Just
Hi.
have to.
Can you hear me?
Hello, hello. Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
So in regards to the lead, as I mentioned in the Q&A, some are good, some are not, and they don't answer the phone, number one. But when you go back, which I did just not too long ago, it was registered in October 25th, and I got to talk to her. She was looking for her mother-in-law, like she wants her mother-in-law to move to some condo instead of taking care of the house. So I keep on talking and talking to her for 15 minutes. Then I got her to speak, where does the mother-in-law live? and giving me the address even. And I even asked the last name, is it the right last name? She said, yeah. So I check it and it is her house. And so anyway, she's looking into like maybe 6 months because her mother-in-law's 80. They want her to move to a different smaller home. So it is working in some cases of lead that's coming in from AgentLocator. And I've been with AgentLocator, Crystal knows, about a year and a half now, I guess, right, Crystal?
Something along those lines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a year and
Yeah,
a
about a
half.
year and a half.
Yeah, a year and a half. I sold one for a year and a half. That was in November. That was lead.
How many leads do you have come in a month?
About 30.
That's a good number.
Yeah, that was set by, when I registered with AgentLocator, they said just start with 30. So which I did, and most of those lead, I'm sorry to say, they're not good lead. And I never
Yeah,
had
tell me what's not good.
they never answer.
Does
That's
that mean they're not good, or does that mean they just are not answering?
They don't answer whatsoever. So they just
But it doesn't mean that they're not good, right?
right, but why would they not answering?
Why would they not answer?
Mm-hmm.
When you go to the store, Anastasia, and you walk into a clothing store and there is an employee there that asks, is there anything I can help you with today? What do you say?
Not right now.
Why? You're not good. Why'd you walk in the store?
Well, I just look around. Maybe I'm doing exercise to get my walk.
There you go. Well, you're in the store now. So if you were to buy something, what would that be? For work, pleasure, or special occasion?
Pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another
So
one.
you walked in that store, right? So you really didn't have an intention when you walked in the store, and you kind of wanted left alone because you just wanted to go in and kind of browse and do your own thing, right? You didn't want to feel pressured.
Well,
So
I don't want to say anything about who comes into the lead. I think Crystal knows that, and I don't want to mention name. So anyway, there's one lead that came in September 5th. I called and called and called. Finally, back in February 25th, I called at 4:52 p.m. He didn't answer, then he called me back at same day. Okay. So we spoke for 15 minutes. Again, another 15 minutes, I spoke to another client. And then all of a sudden he came up. The name that came out registered when he called back is a different name what he registered on the lead, Jen. But I kind of look at the phone number and said, this is the right phone number, but his registered name is a different name. Okay. Got talking to him and he said, oh, I have a house in Castlemore, Highway 50, brand new, blah, blah, blah. I buy at 582. And then I'm thinking of selling my land in Bancroft. I'll call you when the market is getting better. So this guy hasn't even answered me since September 5th. And then finally, February 25th, he did answer and he gave me a different name registered on the phone. So another word, how can they register on AgentLocator with a different name that you are suspicious about?
well, I mean, I can go in and register 10 different times under different names.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say, I've been telling AgentLocator, can't you do something about that when they register with the wrong name? Can't you reject that? Like, I mean, like, you know how
Well, how do
Google
they,
always,
well, I mean,
you know how Google always give you a code to make sure this is you?
oh, as
Yeah,
a
but
cookie? Well, I mean, even I can create a budget. Like I go into Bitly and do QR codes. You're allowed like 3 QR codes. I have like 10 different Gmail addresses. So I just keep going to Bitly and get free accounts, and I don't pay for it. I just keep creating new Gmail accounts. People are going to be people. It's 2026, and we can't stop people for what they do just to find information online because they don't want bothered. Just like when you walk into a store, you don't want anybody to bother you. You just want to walk your steps and get your steps in and walk through the store, but you chose that particular store to walk into. So that's the habit of any person that's shopping online. They're doing it online because they don't have to talk to anybody. And we have no idea what their time frame's going to be. If they're 5 years out and they're just curious about the market, I mean, sometimes it's a good thing that nobody answers their phone, because to your point, you can spend 15, 20 minutes. I mean, heck, I've spent an hour on phone with some people that I've never converted, and it's time that I'll never get back. But what did I learn from that phone call? What was I able to take away from that phone call? And how am I able to utilize what I learned into a future phone call? So I don't look at anybody as not good. So if we're looking at our database and we're looking at all of our leads and we say, none of these are good, you're right, none of them are good, because we are already going in with that mindset that they're not good. So that's the results we're always going to be getting back. But if we look at our leads and we look at our website as everyone has a story, everyone, thank God,
Everyone has a
everybody's
story
not
about
buying on the same day and at the same time, because we couldn't handle it. Thank God not every single lead answers our phone whenever we sit down, because we would never have conversations with anybody. So we really have to look at our leads from a perspective of, it's not that they're not good. They're not.
well, it's not, it's easy for you to say, but you haven't been bitten, right? So I have my experience, what people, just buyers are liars. That's all.
Well, yeah, if you believe that, they are.
Yeah, they
I mean,
are. It's
I've
not,
been
it's not
doing
the
that. I've
believe it
been
or
doing
not,
this
buyers are liars.
since I've been doing this since lead conversion was in its infancy. So, in the regards of leads and how lead conversion has started and what it is today, is there's really been a progression that's happened. And back in the very beginning, everyone answered their phone because it was still landlines. They were still picking up a phone with a damn cord. And now we've grown to the point where everyone's on a cell phone, because it used to be, hey, is so and so there? Well, now it's people are answering their cell phones because not many people have landlines. So we've gone from a time where it used to be exciting to get a phone call, and because somebody was calling you that you actually wanted to talk to, oh my God, like the phone is just white noise now. I don't want to talk to anybody because I'm like, I have so much going on. So we really have to be sensitive to the leads and understand that when we block our time out to sit down and call these people, that we're genuinely going to connect with the people that we're meant to connect with. And why I like the 23-second rule, because you can zip through leads and all you're looking for is who's going to answer the phone. And you're sitting here giving the exact times, the exact dates, the exact everything. I can look at a database and I don't care about one single person, in the regards of, I'm not putting that much time into people. I'm just looking for the person that's going to answer the phone, give me their story so I know what to do with them in my database. 23 seconds next, 23 seconds next. If I have a conversation with you, you're either going to qualify for time on my calendar, or I'm going to tag you and put you on the shelf of the grocery store. I want to have as many conversations with as many leads in my database as possible. And if I take time to look at that one lead that keeps putting in the wrong name, the wrong name, the wrong name, I'm not, it's gonna, I'm putting my energy in all the wrong places.
So if they don't answer for 6 months to a year, you just ignore that, right? After that.
If they don't answer in the first 2 weeks, I limit how much I'm dialing, because if they don't answer in my 7 to 12 attempts in the first 2 weeks, I can't maintain that consistency when there's 30 leads coming in a month. So you have to start tapering down the amount of phone calls as new leads are coming in. So you're call heavy in those first 2 weeks. And then after the first 2 weeks, if they're not maintaining activity in your database, after that first month, if they're never back in and they're not looking, they kind of go into the back of the database and they're on automation, emails, text, and they might get a phone call maybe every quarter as I go through the older leads. But my main focus is on the leads that are coming in right now. I want that consistency. And like we were saying before, when we first opened up today, agents are really great at speed to lead, or that very first touch. But it's the consistency factor that wins, not the speed, because so many people don't answer the phones today and calling from different phone numbers, using the dialer, using your manual phone and having those two different numbers. And some days, okay, I'm going to sit down with the dialer and just knock a bunch out. And some days I'm going to sit down, I'm going to knock out 25 dials and do it manually.
So you were saying in the beginning, you haven't sold anything for 9 months?
Me personally, we were talking about Jeanette said that she had been out of the market for 9 months and she has imposter syndrome.
Okay. So what is your thought about lead gen from today on going forward? These people should just keep on going on the CRM and Google?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because leads are always going to be looking. And
Hang on, I gotta
you
take
need to have multiple pillars of business. So if you're looking at Agent
I gotta take that.
Locator,
Sorry, I gotta take that. Hello.
I'm just going to
Yes.
finish my thought here because this is
Yeah.
going to be recorded. So we need to have multiple pillars of income and different styles of lead generation. Because if we have all of our eggs in one single basket, we're going to get caught with a market shift. So we should be out there networking, talking to people, meeting new people. That is one leg of lead gen. Agent Locator is another leg of lead gen. So looking at your business in totality, this is your profession. Just because you have a real estate license doesn't mean people are going to stand in line to come and do business with you. When you open up a brick and mortar business and you have a storefront, just because you have a storefront right there in the middle of the mall or in the middle of a busy street, it doesn't mean people are just going to walk in. People need to know what your value proposition is and what sets you apart from all the other real estate agents out there. And it's not an easy transition to be able to say, hey, pick me, pick me. Mm-hmm. We have to know what our value proposition is that we're bringing to the table that they're going to get from us versus the other agents that are in our market. So if you're choosing Agent Locator as a primary source of lead generation to fuel your funnel, to build your business, you've got to be putting the time and attention into it because it's not just going to auto run and make you money in your bank account just because you pay for Agent Locator. You have to be able to have that time blocked aside to say, okay, this is my time that I'm investing into my business to make this work. And time again, consistency wins over anything. And the mindset belief that every lead has a story. And all our job is to find out what their stories are and find out where we fit into their story.
And really, at the end of the day, I find, we fail to remember that we're building a database, right? We're collecting contact information of phone numbers and emails, and a lead that registers today may very well not be in a position or have any interest in transacting for 5 to 10 years from now. We have no idea, but as long as we are setting that time aside, like Beverly says, and this is my database, and using that database and in mass emailing, texting, phoning them, checking in periodically, we are only going to increase the transactions we're having over time because we're going to get a lot of those people that ignored us in the beginning because they just weren't ready, all of a sudden raising their hand because they've been seeing your name come across their inbox for 5 to 10 years.
Yep.
Right. So it's not always, it's hard in the beginning for a lot of individuals when you have such a limited number of leads to focus on, and you just always seem to focus on that one person that doesn't answer the call, or the one, is always opening the listing emails but never replies to my texts or emails or phone calls. We tend to just really hyper focus on that. Now imagine if you had 15,000 leads in your database, that person doesn't even matter. You call them, they didn't answer, you could care less, on to the next. Right. So it's really just shifting and figuring out ways to add more to your database. So if you're using Agent Locator as one pillar, what other pillars are you doing to get more contacts into that database?
And so Franco's question, can you
Mhm.
answer my question about success rate when contacting a lead 2 days, 4 days, 1 week later? And while you were talking, Crystal, I was remembering one of my absolute favorite stories. And this is going to piggyback off of some of the other conversations we've been having on how many calls, when to call, consistency, right? Those first 2 weeks are so crucial because we don't know where they are in the process. They may have just started looking and they've escalated their search and they're popping back in because they're ready, or they've just started their search. We don't know. But the leads that stay active, they should be getting a touch by text and email as well as a phone call at least once a week. So Missy, my buyer agent, and that's why this story is so prominent, because when she calls, she goes, I had a lead call me back. I'm like, it happens once in a while. He was in our database for over a year, and we counted back how many phone calls we made to this gentleman when he actually called her back. So he came into the database, he maintained activity because he was opening up all the emails we were sending him. And she left in the course of a year 2 voicemails, and only because his voicemail said, if you don't leave a voicemail, I'll never call you back. And that's what was on his voicemail. So she's like, I'll just leave a voicemail, which we never leave voicemails. A year later, he called her after one of her attempts, and he said, I feel that you deserve our business because you have been so consistent. And if you're that consistent, you don't even know me, I know how hard you're going to work as our realtor whenever we choose to buy. And our market at that time was 350,000 and he was 500,000 cash. And she closed them. And that was 74 phone calls before the actual conversation. So Anastasia, you can't sit here and say, I don't know, because I do. So we've been doing this for a very long time, and we've done it all the wrong ways. We've done it a lot of right ways and every way in between. This is not for the faint of heart. This is not a get rich quick. This is not easy by any stretch of the means, because it will play with your nerves and it will wear you down. But the reality is consistency, consistency, consistency. Even when you don't think you're getting anywhere and no one's answering the phone, you're still getting somewhere, because you're putting your time in and you're determined. And what's that saying? You are what you eat.
Yeah.
You are what you believe,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's where it's, and going back to the buyer agents that are working in the CRM, they don't believe the leads are good. Well, what do they believe in themselves? Is it the leads, or is that the excuse, right? We can make excuses for everything and blame the leads.
Yeah.
But is that leading to your success? No. And what did we open this up with this today? No excuses.
No excuses. No
No
excuses.
excuses.
You can't blame other. It's that saying is everything is your fault. Right? If you
Yeah.
succeed in life, it's your fault.
Yeah.
If you fail in life, it's also your fault. Right? So it's what are you going to do to make it a positive fault, essentially?
Yeah. So Isaac, would you say that we need to have more than one source of leads? So here's what my real estate coach told me when I was lacking on the listing side, right? I was so buyer heavy. And my coach asked me, why don't you have more listings? And I'm like, I don't know, because I the only listings I had were the listings that my buyers had something to sell. So I did not have the confidence in being a listing agent. I did not feel that I could go do a proper listing presentation and be better than my, what word do I want?
Competition.
No, competition. Thank you. I just didn't feel I did. And when I started doing my market analysis, so we didn't do CMAs. We really dove into the market and we did like analysis. And when I knew my market inside out, forwards and backwards, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm ready to go on a listing presentation. But it was my confidence that held me back from going after the listings. And all he said to me was, it's your fault you don't have more listings because they don't even know that you're available to do a listing presentation. And that was an eye opener for me because I'm like, you know what? He's right. Now, I could have been like, how dare you? I have a shingle. I'm on a main street. Everybody knows who Beverly is. They don't. So it was my job to get my name and my brand in front of as many people as possible. And that looks very different for everybody. Everyone's market is different. Everyone's sandbox is different. But the one thing I will tell you that is the best thing I ever did for my business was keep that market small. The more narrow the target, the broader your audience, because you can penetrate a smaller audience than you can. You can get a lot. If you really aim that shotgun with that one bullet and you're taking that time and you're being precise, you're going to hit that target every time. You may not hit the bullseye, but you're going to hit that target every time. But if you're shooting with a BB gun, you're splattering BBs everywhere. And the chances of you hitting that target are very slim. So when you know the audience that you want to go after, and this is a whole other webinar in of itself, and that's why niches are so vitally important, because you're targeting an audience that knows, like, and trusts you because you have so much commodity within that expertise that you can bring to the market. So when you're looking at having multiple sources of leads, what do those leads look like? What do you want to do to get your name out there? What do you want to be known for? And how are you going to do it? What events are you going to do? What marketing are you going to do? What's your value proposition? Because it really comes down to you're your own marketer. We're in the lead gathering business, period. You just have a product that when it pays off, it pays in dividends. So our job is truly to gather leads. And Agent Locator just gives you a way to do it on steroids because you throw money at it and leads come in. It's not their fault what leads are coming in, but you have full control in your community on who you're attracting, who you're meeting, who you're speaking to, and how you get your name out there to attract those leads. So what are you doing to get there?
Yeah. And lead sources, like, as to Isaac, your agent locator is one source of leads. Realtor.ca, and you having a listing and someone inquiring, that's another source of leads. Door knocking, that's another source of leads. Targeting FSBOs, that's another source of leads. Using your social media and doing little posts and attracting, that's another source of leads. So it's a matter of what are your paid efforts to generate business, and what are you personally doing to build and generate business. So yeah, in hindsight, you should essentially have multiple different lead sources. It's just a matter of what you're paying for and what you control personally.
Yeah. And I think last month's webinar, we were talking about door knocking. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember the lady's name, but that was her game changer. Mm-hmm. She's out there knocking on doors and she's getting listings.
Yeah.
And she's targeted a neighborhood and she's killing it.
In the same house every 90 days. That's why you got to put small market, small farm, right? Not go after the whole city.
Yep.
One target area.
Yep. Yeah, whether it's neighborhoods, whether it's school zones, golf community, like whatever your fancy is, truly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely be aware of a lot of those scams out there, because as real estate agents, we're very quick to throw our money at things because we don't want to do the hard work. So we want to do it.
You know what? It's
on it. Sorry, guys. Sorry that I have
to
go earlier.
No worries. No worries. Another thing, if you're going to scan, I always ask for a website link and search the images on that website when it comes to about us and the people they live. Like it's if there's very limited information, that's a red flag. Put the URL in ChatGPT. Does this seem like a legitimate website? And it'll tell you if it's like, it does not look like a trusted source, right? It'll point out exactly why. So it's we have to unfortunately be super skeptical with everything we do, and you know the leads are going to be no different as well. So when they answer the phone finally, and you notice that there's like that hesitation on the phone, that's partially why. Is because they're like, oh, who's trying to rob me today? Right. So it's we have to be able to build that trust and really reassure them so that they know who we are. We're not out to get them. We're just here to offer value and help to facilitate what they're already doing and make it easier for them.
I love Janetta's question. This is like my favorite lead of all times. All right, so two leads claim that they claim, I liked how she said that, they have a house to sell and they want to buy, and they came in as buyers. Most of your buyers are going to be disguised sellers because no one's going to put their home on the market and then start to look for a house, right? They always start to look for the house just to see if there's anything out there that would be even worth them selling. So the main thing that you want to get here is you want to get in their house to give them a value of opinion, right? You want to get face to face with them. So these are the conversations I love to have in regards to preparing them, because the worst thing that happens, they find a house online, they fall in love with it, and they are not prepared. And then they lose that window of opportunity. So our job as professionals is to prepare them for that if it were to happen. So asking them, do you have any idea how much equity you have in your home? If the perfect home came on the market today, would you be prepared? And usually the answer is no. Well, how close are you to finding, if you found that home, would you be ready to go now? Or is that like a hell no, right? And a lot of people are like, no, if I found it, I'd go. So if they're that close, just say, I won't even bring a listing contract. I just want to be able to prepare you with numbers so that you have an idea of what we're looking at. Because the one thing you don't want them to be doing is looking out of their budget. So once they know the numbers that they're looking at with the equity in the home that they have to sell, you can start getting realistic with what they're actually looking for online and just getting that whole preparation together so that they're not going to miss that opportunity. So that is the best way to handle a seller lead that's coming in as a buyer, just finding out how serious they really are.
Yeah, because they're going to come in as a buyer. And what I imagine Jeanette is referring to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jeanette, is there's a little questionnaire that pops up on the website. And if they select that they have a home, it'll tag them that they're a homeowner, right? So we're still going to treat them. They came in, they're looking at homes purchase. We're just going to, ask the question, do you guys currently own your home or are you renting? Right? You could ask that because they might have answered that, yes, they have a home. Maybe they do, maybe they don't.
True. Yeah.
Right? It's asking that question. And if they need to sell this home in order to make this next purchase, or perhaps they're looking as an investment.
I wouldn't, if you haven't talked to them, I wouldn't make the assumption, like Crystal said, that they have a home to sell. I would just treat it like a normal lead. Do you own or do you rent? Just to get the information out of them. But being prepared in the back of your mind with that conversation, right? Why I have a home to sell. Well, what's this process look like? Because we always want to know time frame. If they're like, I'm a year out, I wouldn't go down that road. But if they're getting ready to make that move, 3 to 6 months. Again, is that a form that they filled out that they just put a time in there? Is it like a checkbox?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't believe check marks. I mean, honestly, people because they just want to see the house. Right. They just want to get in. They're just checking. They're just
3-6 months. They need to be on the market today. So it's really having those questions and yeah, they're not prepared. They don't realize you guys are the educators here. right? The leaders
Yeah.
and what it, the whole process of what it actually entails to list a home and buy one and how long that's going to take.
Yeah, they don't understand the time frame. And I treat every lead the same until I have the conversation. That was the death of me going in and analyzing the homes that they were looking at and how often they were looking. And that was just my excuse to not call the freaking leads, right? I have to know everything about them before I call, and then they don't answer the phone. I'm like, this is a waste of time, right? I just look at everybody as a blank slate. And that's where the questions came from. Do you own or do you rent? Like, I don't look at anything that they've put in there verbatim. I just treat them all the same and ask all the same questions.
Exactly. Because a lot of homeowners put that they're pre-approved. And most of them aren't. Just because they own a home. They just feel like they're just automatically pre-approved.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. This has been great, y'all. Thank you so much for popping on and contributing and asking so many great questions and bringing up so many great topics.
Yeah.
Appreciate you spending the time with us today.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of great questions. So a lot of activity, of course.
Heck yeah.
Perfect. Anyway, we'll have this session again at the beginning of April. I can't believe
don't even say that. Don't even say that. I can't believe we're in March. This is crazy.
I feel like these once a month sessions just all of a sudden it's like every month just flies by. Like, how did we get here?
We're gonna be sitting here talking about freaking pumpkins before we know it.
Don't say that. We just slow summer down.
I know. I just wanted to warm up. Let's talk about summer.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, Beverly. Thanks everyone that jumped in. And if anyone needs any help or support with their systems, by all means, reach out. We're here to help you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.